Hey everyone, it's Bad Boogl. I've been thinking a lot recently about the purpose behind this channel and why I've been working at it for about a year now. And it really comes down to the idea that I don't want players to waste their time, especially the players who are putting in lots of hours and plan on becoming professionals, or maybe the players who are already professionals. They're spending so much time on the game, so many hours are being put into this practice that if they're doing the wrong sorts of practice, it can really add up over time. And what I've focused on here is sort of the idea of efficient training or effective training or maybe ideal training and what it looks like and why it looks that way and maybe the science behind it. But what I haven't talked about is what a training plan actually looks like. And that's what I want to remedy with this video. I've actually made a guidebook that describes how a training plan is to be built according to these rules that we've kind of set up with this channel, and how it'll end up looking when you're finished. So what a finished training plan looks like. So it pretty much gives you an example of what you're going to be making, and then it walks you through making it. It's very simple, and everything's linked throughout it. It's just a simple Google document, and it's got an index. It's very easy to follow along with. So that's what this video is about. This is the Interventions and Coaching Guidebook for Team Meteor. It's part of the Team Meteor Academy program, and this is a program centered around making Rocket League professionals, or players in Rocket League that can compete on the professional scene. And since Team Meteor is a young organization and we haven't secured any sort of sponsorships, we're looking more at providing services to attract players rather than offering them just money. So this is my portion of it as the head coach for Team Meteor. I'm working on the guidebook and the Team Meteor Academy program, along with some of my other coaches that are helping me. We're going to be going through the guidebook, but only the interventions and the training plan portion. There's a lot of other stuff about coaching that we're not going to cover here. If you scroll down, you'll see this section in the index called Setting Up, and this is really your primary hub for getting around if all you're interested in is making a training plan. So clicking this, you'll see these two sections, Reading and Building a Training Plan. And this is pretty much how the guide's divided up for this. There's the primary reading that you need to do, and these go over the two main ideas for these interventions. And then there's the building a training plan that shows you how to incorporate these ideas into a training plan. So for the reading, and we're going to just go over this here, the first intervention is SCORE. And this stands for spacing, challenging, and randomizing. And spacing just says that if you spend 30 minutes a day for a week, you're doing more for yourself. You're going to get more out of it than if you just spend once a week doing 4 hours. Spreading your time out is more valuable. That's something you can do to get more out of your training, is spread it out. The next thing here is challenging. So don't do what you know you can do. Try to do the things that are outside of your comfort zone, and try to do them with a sense of purpose. So make sure you're aiming your shots, and you also want to be as fast as possible and shoot as fast as possible. The last part of SCORE is randomizing, and this is making sure that you don't do the same stuff over and over again, and it's also making sure that you change things up or you mix things up. So you can randomize by changing the context or the order or the target or method. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can do. And it's also worth mentioning here that boogl mod can help add variation. In fact, Halfway Dead has a video over on his channel, Rocket Science. If you haven't heard of it, you should definitely go check it out, about this and how boogl mod can help add variation to your training. And it's a pretty good video. It's really in-depth. It can help you figure out how to use boogl mod to do all of this stuff. So that's everything you need to know about SCORE. And now we're going to move on to mindfulness training. And specifically, the type of mindfulness training that we're doing is going to be sitting meditation. And you can just click this link up here in the Setting Up section, and that'll bring you to a paragraph that describes what sitting meditation is. And there's more in this section about what mindfulness training is and how sitting meditation is a form of it. But I'm just going to read this paragraph for you quickly. Sitting meditation, on the other hand, is better suited to practicing attention and focus. And this is being compared to the body scan, which is more for relaxation, although it is a form of mindfulness. The goal here is to be aware of your body and your place in a non judgmental way. So, being aware of where you are in space and time, and being aware of the sensations that you experience. And if you have an itch or whatever, it's okay. You can scratch that itch, but just be aware that it's there and that you just make a conscious choice to scratch it. Don't just do it out of habit. Or if you do it out of habit, notice that that's something that you did. And here, it's also best to sit on a mat or a pillow and to sit up against the wall cross-legged, with your back pressed against the wall. And you're trying to keep good posture here. And it's kind of helpful to think about or imagine a string pulling at the base of your head. And that sort of image, for some reason, helps a lot of people. It helps me keep good posture and keep their neck straight. On to the second part of the guide, which is building a training plan. We're going to just check out the example plan first. So you can see here a little plan that I've created. It's not one that I'm currently doing, but it's definitely one that you can steal if you want an introductory sort of plan that's already made for you. After you have an idea of what that example plan looks like and what kind of goes into it, you can look at the guidelines, and then you can find drills that fit the needs of the guidelines. So you're kind of going to have these guidelines, and then you're going to have a shopping list or a shopping cart, and you're going to be going to this grocery store of drills, though you can create your own if you want to. But going back down here to the training program section, I need to add a link to this. I'm sorry about that. I will before this is released, I'm sure. But going back to the training program section, this shows you the training framework, so the guidelines that I was talking about, the timeline or the shopping cart, and the drills or the grocery store. So you're going to look at the guidelines, and these are pretty much the rules that are entailed from the interventions that we're going to be doing. So score and mindfulness kind of imply doing these things, but mostly score comes into play here. And then in the timeline, this shows us what we need to do for our training plan. And our training plan is supposed to get progressively harder, and hopefully 4 weeks of progression is kind of enough for everyone to get the major gist of how I want things to work for this training plan. And ideally, it would be great if we could get everyone to participate in some sort of experiment where before doing this intervention, they would tell me their rank, and then after doing 4 weeks of this intervention, they would tell me their rank again, and then we could compile some sort of list of people who have done this and see what kind of progression it enables, and then hopefully compare that to some sort of baseline. And I think we would find, because this is the case in other research, and like I was talking about, Halfway Dead, is he talks about this in his latest video, these sorts of principles really do work, and they are used in lots of interventions in sports. So the idea that they wouldn't work here doesn't really strike me as plausible. So here you have week 1, and it says to meditate 5 minutes daily. And of course, that's going to be part of all of this throughout the interventions. You're not going to be using any score principles on that one. So the next one, though, and these are all where score does come into play, is car control. And here you have a bunch of drills that you can pick from, but you're supposed to pick 2 in the first week, and you're supposed to do them for 5 to 10 minutes each. It's up to you. And the squares, if you click that, it links you to all the car control drills, and they're all under this. So it's all pretty simple. So going back to week 1, if you want, then there's the ball control that you have to add, and there's 3 drills, and you're supposed to do them for 5 minutes each. So you can go to the squares, and it shows you all these for ball control. You pick shooting, rebound, whatever. Um, you can see down here how I did this in the example training. I picked, um, you know, a self-serve rebound training, and then I picked to do a fast flick, and then I picked to do like a consistency, so like a Biddle's consistency pack or something. And then if you look at the last thing, it's playing with bots. And this may sound silly, but playing with bots for like 5 minutes is a good way to kind of integrate your skills and perform them under the pressure of thinking about other things. And that's definitely a real need that you're going to be facing when you're playing online. You need to be able to keep all these other things in mind while you're trying to perform the stuff that you've learned. And this is a good way to integrate it without the pressure of ranked or other people's judgment. So, bots, I like them. If bots are hard for you, there's a whole bunch of different ranks that you can set them to. There's a huge progression scale. It's probably the odds that they're too easy for you. And in that case, Baka's mod is also helpful here because you can set up the game speed. So it'll challenge you to perform at a faster rate. Don't set it up very much, but you can do it enough to kind of throw yourself off. And on the flip side, it might feel like slow motion when you go back into the regular game, which could throw you off or make you better, depending on how you react. It's who knows. But it is a way to make it harder on yourself and to force yourself to think a little faster. So it's good training for the long run, too. It's not just to get that slow-mo effect. That's it, everyone. That's everything you need to know about building a training program. Of course, there's going to be a lot more that we cover in the future, but that's everything you need to know for this guide right now. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe. Peace.